Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the amazing Ernie Reyes Jr., everybody. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. I went down every year. They give me the list of the panels. Like, hey, are there any that jump out at you? I'm like, yeah, this one right here, Ernie Reyes Jr. Never did I think I think we're about the same age. But while you were on screen, I was watching you on screen, and mid '80s, late '80s, all the '80s. Me as a young Asian. Didn't have a lot of role models. There just weren't many out there in pop culture. Wasn't until, I guess, maybe like G.I. Joe, you had guys like Storm Shadow and you had Quick Kick. But yeah, the TV, movies, their stereotypes just didn't exist at all. Yeah. And then I saw you, and I was like, wow, there's hope. I felt it was really cool seeing a guy around my age just kicking ass, man.
Yeah, right on.
And it made me proud to be an Asian. So
yeah, thank you. Were you? Did you at that point when you were a kid? Did you already have an idea that you wanted to be in entertainment?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, I didn't know. This is what I knew I wanted to do because people. I'm proud of an Asian family. So constantly we were getting bombarded from a young age. What do you want to do? What do you want to do in life? Where are you going to college? What do you want to do? You think you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, someone of importance? And I got so sick of that question because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of caught between two worlds. My parents were immigrants. I was born in the States, but I grew up watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe. I had no idea what to do. I just got so sick of the question. I just started answering honestly. He's like, "What do you want to do in your life?" Like, I want to read comic books. I want to play video games. I want to consume pop culture. That's what I want to do in life. And of course, they laughed at me. Yeah. And they're like, "You're not. There's no way. You're not gonna make money."
Started crying.
Yeah, you're not gonna make money doing any of that. And I kind of did. So yeah. I had the last laugh. But
amazing.
So yeah, I had no idea. But guys like you that inspired me. I was like, you know what? Maybe I could one day. It's not all just school plays and stuff. You may wind up on screen one day, cool. and I did in a roundabout way. I didn't really train for it or go to school or anything for it, but yeah.
But you ended up there.
Yeah. Before we get to that though, you're known as a great actor. You've been played many iconic roles, and your martial arts is top notch. You burst off that screen. You're well known for that. But I think a lot of people, it's like, okay, great, you can do it on screen. Can you do it in real life? And if you go to YouTube, which I did, you fought professionally. You had a couple bouts. Yeah. And you can watch those matches on YouTube. And I believe I watched your debut, mixed, was it kickboxing or was it mixed? Muay Thai. It was a Muay Thai. And you were amazing. Of course, he won. Spoiler alert. It was a decision. I think, was it a 3-round?
Yeah.
Match, yeah. But it looked grueling. But man, you pulled out some awesome moves, and I know it was your first fight, so those awesome moves didn't all land, but they looked really good. They looked really good. Yeah, right. But you fought a really good, clean, hard fight, and you deserved that victory.
Yeah, thank
you. And what made you decide to try to enter the actual professional ring, and which took a lot of courage because if you lost for whatever reason, people are like, oh, you would get a lot of detractors, I guess. It was kind of a big risk, but I think you knew, though, you had it in you that I don't know if you had something you wanted to prove, or it was something you wanted to do.
Yeah, I grew up as a martial arts competitor as a kid prior to films and television. So at the core, of who I am, I'm a martial artist, and I from a very early on, I was competing. So martial arts competition I grew up on that.
Yeah.
And so, and I always took that really seriously. Like Bruce Lee was my, hero and somebody that I looked up to and continue to look up to this day. And so I had a high standard in terms of my martial arts. It wasn't martial arts for being in movies and television. It was being in martial arts to be the best martial artist that I could be. I mean, I just wanted to be like Bruce Lee, basically. So, I started working as a kid, and all through my teenage years. And so when I think it was probably like mid-20s or so, my martial arts journey never really stopped, and that was kind of like the next like logical step for me as a martial artist. Yeah, there's some risk because obviously you become a celebrity and you're now in movies and television, and so if you lose, that might kind of discredit your ability to play a hero on screen, that kind of thing. But I didn't really care about any of that. Muay Thai came into America probably in the late 80s. So by the mid 90s, when I started training, it was pretty fresh and new in terms of just like there was no MMA or anything like that in the mid 90s. So that was kind of the most legitimate fighters that I was like kind of privy to. Those guys were like, I was like, holy shit, these guys are badass, man. And so, I wanted to take that next step. I grew up doing taekwondo and boxing and kickboxing. American kickboxing was different. You couldn't kick to the legs, and you couldn't, knee or elbow or anything like that. And that's kind of what Muay Thai is known for. So for me, it was just about taking that next step as a martial artist. I still felt like I had a lot to do in terms of films and television, but I also knew that like it was all based upon me being a martial artist.
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that I do because there's martial arts in the movies or TV shows. So it was just a chance for me to step it up. And I met a coach from Thailand, and who was like one of, just legendary champion. And so I went through the training, and it's hardcore. It's like real hardcore training. And so, you have to test that out, and that's what I wanted to do. And so, yeah, it was interesting though, because as I was competing, I was always kind of pulled back and forth. Like, when I first, my Muay Thai coach didn't even speak English.
Yeah, so he's straight from Thailand.
Yeah, he didn't even know who I was. I just signed up at the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I'm
like, okay.
Yeah. So he's watching me. I'm there for like 3 weeks, and I could see him keeping his like eye on me or whatever. And one day he pulls me aside or whatever, and he said, hey, you want to fight for real? And I was like, yeah, I want to fight for real. I said, but I'm also like, because I know what it's like to be a trainer. You invest your time, energy, and effort for years and years and years developing somebody from the ground floor with hopes of one day them becoming a champion, because that's how you would, if you make any kind of money, that's where the payoff will come. But that happens only after years and years of investment where you get nothing, but you're spending your whole day and time and trying to get somebody to level up mentally, physically. So I was trying to explain to him like, yeah, but like I do want to fight, but I've got like a lot of other things happening.
Yeah, I'm a busy man.
He's not getting it really or whatever. Anyways, I was like, yeah, I want to fight. So it was interesting because I fought 3 or 4 times professionally. A few of those bouts played on ESPN, which was super cool. And this was like previous to even, there was no mixed martial arts.
Yeah, there's no, UFC wasn't on pay-per-view.
There was no nothing, so to be on ESPN fighting for real, like I grew up watching Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard and all these, great boxers from the 80s, so to be on ESPN fighting for real, I was like, that was super awesome.
Yeah, worldwide audience, man.
Yeah, and just the idea of being in a ring and under the bright lights and cameras and all that was a dream come true. I grew up as a real serious Muhammad Ali fan and like studied him, watched all his interviews and all that stuff. So, I was kind of living out my dream. And when you're in the entertainment industry, like there's ebbs and flows to it, And for me, starting off as a kid, there's sometimes like years go by in between before you
literally years.
Yeah, literally.
And that's a long time when you're fighting. You need a job.
You need something to do.
A couple of years goes by, like crap.
Yeah, so that was an amazing moment in time, and I'm really happy that I did it, and it changed my style too. Like Surf Ninjas, it was like everything up since I was a kid all the way to Surf Ninjas was kind of based upon my training growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
Taekwondo, boxing, kickboxing, wushu, that kind of stuff. And then it became, now I'm like a real fighter, basically. So that changed my whole style and my whole mind when it came to choreography and fight scenes. Because now I'm like, okay, now I'm an actual badass. I'm not just like the cute kid running around beating up adults or the teenage like wisecracking guy. Like, this is the guy that can really like handle himself and handle like real world, you know, basically it comes down to violence. Like, you know, there's a certain quality of violence to it in an artful way. And so it changed my whole thought process. So by the time you see the difference between like Surf Ninjas and the Rundown, that's where that transition happened. It's like, oh, you haven't seen that guy? Damn, he's kicking some serious ass. You know, and that wouldn't have happened unless I had like a real life journey.
Right.
That didn't just come by, oh, I'm growing up and I'm growing older and I'm just doing the same thing that I've been doing.
It's like, no, some guy just tried to kick me in the head in the ring.
Yeah, so
he may have connected a couple times.
Yeah, oh no, you're definitely, nobody's getting out of fights without getting hit, especially if you're doing that 3 or 4 times a week and sparring and all that. So, yeah, without that transition, you know, my fight scenes would look very different. And then, you know, you get to that point and you're like, okay, cool, and I need to take the next level. I need to go to the next level. I need to take the next step, and your martial arts training continues, and then that's where the future lies. It's like, okay, well, I definitely haven't shown everything that I've got. So, you know, only the future will reveal like what it looks like moving forward, because the only last thing that everyone's seen is the Rundown, but I've continued to train martial arts the whole time. So, you know, that's the good thing about my martial arts journey tied to films and television, is I'm always doing martial arts. But if the martial arts is just the same as it was in Ninja Turtles, I'll be like, okay, it's the same old guy doing the same old spin kick or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're going to take it up a notch. And then here we are, you know, in 2025, 20 years later after the Rundown. And then you have to continually evolve as a martial arts. And fortunately, I put in the work and continue to do that on a daily basis. So, you know, from my point of view, the best is yet to come.
Yeah, all right, so stay tuned, everybody.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. So you just throw a year, 25 years. We're at the 40th anniversary of The Last Dragon.
Yeah.
We're coming up on the 35th anniversary of TMNT 2, Secret of the Ooze. Which means, and we're still talking about, which means the films you've been in have had longevity, have begun and still carries on a legacy. However, you know, 40 years ago, 35 years ago, you're on set, you're filming these movies. Did you ever think we'd be talking about these movies this many years later?
That I can't say that I predicted. You know, most of the things like that would lead to these things, I had an idea, like, oh, I'm going to do this, and this project will lead to that, and this project will lead to that. But I never had the idea that I'd be here at this point talking about movies that I did 40, 35, 30 years ago, and still have people remember them and still kind of feel a certain way about it. And when they remember those moments in time, it brings back good feelings. Like, that's really a pretty incredible thing for me to experience, is to have people come up to me and tell me like, hey, this really moved me, or this really impacted my life in a positive way. And even with like the Ninja Turtles, it's now like kind of multi-generational, where, you know, the kids that grew up watching those movies are now parents, and those parents are showing their kids the original movies. Yep. And so now, you know, I'll meet a 10-year-old little boy who just saw Secret of the Ooze for the first time, and he's super excited, and that to me is mind-blowing, because I'm like, bro, you were nowhere near being here when this movie came out, and now you're talking to me about it like you just saw it yesterday, which you did.
Yeah, but that's just a testament to its longevity. And you know, that 10-year-old kid, when he grows up, he's going to show his kids Secret of the Ooze or Last Dragon or Surf Ninjas, and it'll just continue on and on. And I mean, we're maybe probably talking about this in 40 years, 140 years. I mean, we won't be here to find out. But those. So, that kind of entertainment's pretty funny. They last on media now that will go on forever. So
yeah, pretty amazing. Without social media, I think that at this particular point, maybe you're just kind of forgotten forever. Maybe in individual minds, you exist somewhere faintly in the far distant past. But now with social media, I was just telling somebody the other day, it's like without social media, like how would I unless you are currently pumping out new stuff, where would anybody be able to now? Everybody tracks, your story and what you're up to, and can revisit all the old movies so easily. It's pretty wild, and I'm grateful for it. So
yeah, for sure. Where do you think we are now? What do you think the state of martial arts and entertainment is now in 2025? I know every so often we'll get a pretty cool movie based in martial arts, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or we had Ki Kwan busting some martial arts moves in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think one that maybe not so recent, but when I keep going and I watch a lot is the Raid and the Raid Redemption, things like that. What do you think? Where do you think we are now in terms of martial arts and entertainment, movies?
Yeah, I mean, it's bigger than ever. That's for sure. I mean, every movie there's some martial arts in it, especially like all the Marvel and superhero movies, and they're not really martial arts movies, but they have martial arts in them.
Yes.
I kind of like the idea of martial arts movies as martial arts movies, like having a resurgence, versus just seeing martial arts in movies that have nothing to do with the actual martial arts journey or whatever. Those movies were a lot of fun. I actually, more recently, formed a company called the Ninja Studios that's basically specializes in developing and producing martial arts entertainment across transmedia, whether it be films, television, animation, video games, comics. So that's kind of where my focus lies right now. But for martial arts, it's you have to see something that you haven't seen before, otherwise it's the same thing. So that comes down to the evolution of your training, or the people that are producing the product, And so right now we're sitting in a state of, we've seen pretty much everything that, when's the last time you see something super new? When it comes to martial arts anyways. Even the fight scenes, when you watch all of the big blockbuster movies, it's all kind of looks the same to me. And it's because there's the same coordinators and same fight choreographers and same people working on those movies and designing the action sequences, that they all kind of have that familiar kind of feel to them. But all these eras kind of come to a close, and then a new era starts. So it'll be interesting. I've seen some good stuff like in Dune, some Filipino martial arts. I'm Filipino, so I've been studying Filipino martial arts more recently, off and on, for the last 10 years or so. I've spent most of my life training in empty hand martial arts, right? So that's just using your body as a weapon. Filipino martial arts is a weapons-based martial arts. I think
they use staves,
sticks, blades, mostly sticks and blades. Blades meaning anything from long swords to just kind of everyday carry type of weapons. So it's going to be interesting to see. I obviously live and breathe in that world, so I'm always thinking about fight scenes and stuff like that. But I think like everything in entertainment, I think that it's an interesting place because certain things are coming to an end, certain eras are coming to an end, which means the end of careers and the beginning of new ones. So for me, it's just kind of been more about moving behind the camera, less about me looking at myself as an actor and looking at myself more as a creator in the form of martial arts entertainment. And so that's kind of where I'm focusing my purpose. So when I think about the state, I'm very excited. I think that the future is really bright. That's why I'm wearing my sunglasses right now.
It's so bright, gotta wear shades. Gotta wear shades. What inspired you to start a production company? Because that's a pretty massive undertaking. A lot of investment in time, possibly personal funds, and then curating projects. A lot of the projects, your own projects that you've been wanting to work on, or are you taking outside ideas as well? Do you have friends who have maybe pitched ideas or have completed scripts? Like, hey, you know what? Let's start a production company, and we're going to get all this made.
Yeah, I haven't got to that point.
Okay.
It's kind of more of a stretch goal for me. But like in terms of all the product that I have right now, it's just all like original IP created by myself. So the reason why, I mean, when I graduated high school, it was kind of like the birth of independent cinema. It was right when I was doing...
It's right about early 90s, with Kevin Smith, Clerks, and,
and
Richard Linklater, and Rodriguez, and Tarantino.
All those guys. So when I was like when I graduated high school, so it was kind of an interesting little dichotomy that was happening, which was I was in these blockbuster Ninja Turtle movies, but like this indie scene was burgeoning, and that's kind of where my heart lied. That was what was inspiring me at that moment in time, of people taking control of their careers in a way that they could tell their own stories and make their own movies, and they weren't subjected to the system which says that you can only do this and you only can do that, and you're only right for this part and you're only right for that part, and you can't write and you can't direct and you can't edit and you can't do anything, and just hit that mark, say your line that we wrote for you, and then go back to your trailer and wait till we call you back out.
Yeah, like 10 hours,
So that was like, I had all those guys that you just mentioned, and I'm a fan of all of them, and I still am. But they were inspired me, and it took me really to this point to actually be able to execute on that vision for lots of different reasons. But that inspiration, that independent filmmaking spirit that was born in me in like 1990 as I was graduating high school, that's never left me. The tricky part is how to survive and how to make, how to live and do all the things that you need to do, especially like raising a family, and still try to pursue being an independent filmmaker. And so that was really that moment in time was really where it all started. And now I don't know how many years later, 35 years later, I'm really actually being able to do it. And part of that is, back then, those guys would have to go make a movie, and then they have to go to the, festival circuit and hopefully make a splash there. I mean, it's like very challenging
and then,
to make it happen.
Bigger picks it up for distribution, all this stuff.
And it's just now you can just go directly straight to the audience. Right? And there's no barrier there. There's no gatekeeper there from you going, hey, I want to make something and I want to show it to people.
It's like, great, go make it and show it to people.
Do it. That doesn't matter if it's on your iPhone or whatever it is, right? So we're in a whole different thing. And so that, thankfully, technology has come to my aid in many different ways, personally and professionally, that have really just been life saviors, because without that technology, then some of these dreams aren't possible. And so, it's taken all this time for me to be able to go, oh, now I can really see a pathway to me getting things done and being successful, versus just, I did the other way too, where it's just like, just trying, but you're just hitting so many roadblocks along the way. There's
always a wall, or closed door.
Or a door slamming on your face, or whatever it is. So that's why I have a lot of respect for the guys that did it then, because they had to go through a lot. First of all, making a movie is not an easy thing, and then making a movie when you don't have all the resources. The good part is you creatively have to come up with solutions, and sometimes that's the gold that you would have never found if you would have had access to all the things, right? So, but there's still a lot of things that go into it. Even just like if you had a small film back in the day and you're an indie guy, and now you got to go fly around to all the film festivals? Like, who's paying for this?
You are. It's just coming out of your pocket.
It's impossible, basically, right? So now we're in a much different scenario, and you can,
we're just in a much different scenario, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, and it's cool. Yeah, I mean, if you kind of look around the entertainment world right now, the major productions are pretty non-existent right now. The cinema distribution, having huge opening weekends, that doesn't really exist anymore. All this stuff is created. All the good stuff and the way to get things done is to do it independently now.
Yeah,
and
for sure. I mean, they were, first it was like, oh, stop with the remakes, right? Because that's all they were doing.
Yeah, because they had no original ideas
just
anymore.
Remaking everything.
Yeah.
Now they're not even remaking
No.
it; they're just re-releasing the whole stuff. They're just like, you know what? Actually, we're not going to even go and make this again. We're just going to release it again.
Yeah, that was awesome 50 years ago. We'll just put it back out and re-release it. Throw some bells and whistles on it.
Yeah.
It was like, if you guys really running out of ideas that bad?
Yeah. So, it's the freedom of being in contemporary times, that gives you the inspiration, motivation, and courage to actually go out and pursue it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I was really happy when I saw that you were launching. It was in one of the trades. Yeah. It's like, that's cool, man.
Yeah. So that's and it's nail biting, and you're flying by the seat of your pants, and there's still it's still a long shot to go, hey, I got a dream to create something, and it's gonna be a super success, and I'm gonna make a movie, and then I'm gonna do cartoons, and I'm gonna do a video game, and it's like, okay, buddy, like, good luck on that one.
Yeah,
we'll be rooting for you. It's still.
Although you've done all three already, so you've had the experience. So
so I feel really good. I mean, I do feel really good. I'm very excited about the future.
Yeah. So you have two kids right in the step, I believe you told me.
Yes.
How old are they?
My stepdaughter's she's like early 20s, 23. My daughter's 17, and my son's 12.
That's cool. Have they seen all your movies?
My daughter Lotus has seen, I think, pretty much all the movies except maybe Red Sonja and a few other things, but she's seen the main ones. My son just saw Secret of the Ooze for the first time this like 6 months ago or whatever, and we did a private screening, and he was like, Dad, I didn't know you were like in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been trying to tell you, son.
Like you're there, and then you're in the suit at certain points as well.
Yeah, so my son hasn't really watched any of my stuff. There's other things going on.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. I did a lot of Alamo Draft House showings.
Yeah, the Q&As afterwards.
Yeah, like about 10 years ago, before all these movies started re-releasing. We did Ninja Turtles 1, 2, Surf Ninjas, The Last Dragon. So she was with me at all those Alamo Draft House screenings. So that was how she got to see all the movies with me. But she's also. Her name's Lotus Blossom. She co-starred in a movie called We Can Be Heroes that was written and directed by Robert Rodriguez, and is one of, if not the most highly watched movie on Netflix of all time.
Yeah, so you can catch it now.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where it is, but kids, they go and watch a movie, and then they watch it every day after school for 6 months straight, and then on the weekends 3 or 4 times. So the movie's been watched a lot of times, and it's definitely has been cool to be, just the dad on set.
Yeah.
And get to experience that. So
that's cool. So you remember what it was like.
Yeah.
Now you got your flesh and blood is doing it.
Yeah, really, really trippy actually. But super proud.
That's cool. Yeah, I always get people coming up to me. It's like, oh man, your kids must think you're so cool. I'm like, man, your kids never think you're cool. But I was never a turtle, or I didn't fight alongside legends and.
Yeah, I don't know.
But even then you're not cool. Though,
it's a hard sell, man.
Even then you're not cool. So that's
can be cool all the time.
Yeah. I don't want to hog all the questions. Does anybody have a question? Shoot your hand up. And yes.
So given your kind of transition from Surf Ninjas to the Rundown, having kind of gotten that professional fight experience, would you ever consider, now with your own new studio, bringing back the Final Fu with a more, I guess, aggressive or kind of intense combat style at the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe you could do something like that, but you couldn't bring back that because that IP is kind of owned by. But when I did that show, yeah, it was kind of an interesting thing because I was, telling them like, hey, there's this thing called MMA and it's going to be really big and like whatever. So they weren't really kind of tracking with the vision of what I saw. I really thought that the platform of being on MTV and martial arts, I really thought that there was, potential to do something great. And I think it's just a matter of like the typical, you have executives and everyone's trying to figure out what to do, and I'm just the host hired for the show. But I was able to change a lot of it, but never fully to have like a clear vision of what the show should have been. It actually started off as like a Chinese martial arts show with a style called wushu, which is like what Jet Li does, and people like that. And I'm like standing there, and they had me with like my shirt off and this silk sash around my waist or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm introducing myself as me, but I'm doing this kung fu show, and I was like, guys, like I've done some kung fu and I've done wushu and I can do a lot of that. But like I'm not known as that, so I would be looking like I'm standing up here trying to be like a kung fu master, and like anybody who knows me, including my like family,
Right.
knows like, hey, what are you doing up there? So I try to like kind of change it towards the vision of what I thought, was most contemporary at the time, and taking these kind of champion martial artists who hadn't necessarily fought in that kind of fashion and train them and have them compete. But there's, a lot of, especially at that time with MMA not really being like what it is now, just there was so much pushback to MMA even. There was just so much pushback for just the sport in general. It wasn't something that people were like, warmly embracing or anything. So I don't know. It's something to think about for sure. And like the answer to your earlier question is outside of my own thing. I hope to be able to build a company in which it gives other people opportunities, other filmmakers, building the next generation of martial arts action stars. I have a vision for the things that I want to do and the stories that I want to tell as an artist, but it's definitely meant to go beyond that, whether it be my kids, whether it be friends, whether it be people that I meet in the future, and support artists that are telling the kind of stories that I'm into.
Amazing. Anybody else?
Well, I appreciate it. I like coming to this show. It's a smaller show, obviously.
Yeah.
And but I like the space. And every time I'm here, I'm like so I'm doing a rewrite actually on Ninjaverse that I'm trying to finish by this weekend. And so in between.
Oh, so you're working at the same time?
Yes. I'm trying to finish this madly. So I'm kind of very grateful that this is not a show where it's like super crowded and I don't have a lot of downtime. And I like the space. I like being on the land. Like it makes me feel a certain way. I don't have the.
It's definitely the land of enchantment.
Yeah, I mean it's like, and I'm like,
I love it out here. Man.
Yeah, it's like awesome. When I stepped off the airplane, I was like, yes, this is why I'm here right now. Some good air to breathe, and not having the city choking me slowly to death. So
I think this is. Where do you live now?
I live in LA.
Yeah, see, LA is just concrete and people and just kind of dirt everywhere.
Yeah.
And like even dirt in the air.
Yeah.
But so it's nice to come to a place like New Mexico. It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
You're not like choking on stuff. So.
Yeah, taking a deep breath. So I appreciate everybody coming, hanging out with us, listening to us chat. It's great to hang out with you. And talk it up.
Yeah. I got one more question. So I love vintage ads, and you've been a pitch man several times.
Yes.
I saw an ad featuring you for a product called Action Jeans. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was a brand of jeans where, you know, they build like you could kick someone in the face if you wore these jeans. And their biggest feature with they put a thing in the crotch so your crotch wouldn't blow out if you kick someone in the face. So you're one of the major pitchmen. Chuck Norris.
Well, no, they're actually called Chuck Norris kicking jeans.
Okay. I know, yeah.
It was in 1980, yeah, so.
How did that come about?
Well, Century Martial Arts, who's like the largest manufacturer and distribution company of martial arts goods, like uniforms, sparring equipment, punching bags, like belts, you know, training swords, everything you can possibly imagine. You know, they've been a supporter of mine since I was a little kid. They were actually my first sponsor when I was 8 years old, traveling around to all the different martial arts tournaments. And they have a very close relationship with Chuck Norris. And so they had the Chuck Norris kicking jeans. And I got to do an ad, and I did an ad with me and my dad. And it's actually one of the things that I like. It's like a cherished little thing that I have. Like, okay, like all the cool stuff I've done, but man, the Chuck Norris kicking jeans ad is super cool. You know?
Yeah, I've been looking for a pair of those jeans forever. I don't know what happened to them. I'm like some eBay, nothing. It's like I can't find a pair. One day, man.
Yeah.
Unless you got a bunch in your closet.
I don't know.
Maybe I could squeeze into a pair. Like we're about the same height.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll call some couple people.
Yeah,
And see
it's like, hey, man, you got any of those?
You got any of those Chuck Norris kicking jeans left?
32 waist. You know, I can alter the length. So
Yeah.
right on. Besides the production company, and you've been doing a lot more contests here, which is great because I get to cross paths with you. Is there anything you're working on now that you're allowed to talk about?
No, that's my major focus right now is the
Ninjaverse.
Yeah, the Ninja
Cool.
Studios is the name of the company. Ninjaverse is my first original IP coming out of the studio. Super excited, and we've got some good traction with it. So it's really a kind of a love letter to all the films I grew up making. And so I draw inspiration from, you know, all those 40 years of making martial arts movies and TV shows like that. So, but
That's awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to help you promote. If you need someone in the background to get choked or kicked in the face, I'm here for you. If you want to be like Jackie Chan and Enter the Dragon, when he gets choked out in Han's cave in the meth lab, I'm there for you, man.
All right, that sounds good.
I'm there for you, man.
I appreciate you, man.
But you're here all weekend?
Yes, sir.
All right, please go see Ernie at his table. Grab a question, grab a selfie, grab an autograph. A legend here, and thanks for being one of my heroes. Still, definitely growing up, but even to this day. And it is just great seeing you in person and hanging out with you at cons, man.
Appreciate you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ernie Reyes Jr., everybody, give it up. Give it up for my man. And thank you, Samuel Conga. Thank you guys for being here. We're here all weekend, and welcome back. First time back in 4 years. So, and what a way to kick it off. Two badasses here. So, thanks, guys. I'll talk to you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.